Hey guys, welcome to Marvel Rewind. This is where we take a look at old Marvel books and we look at different runs, we talk about them. So I want to talk specifically about Punisher Knights. This was from the year 2000 to 2001. It was a 12 issue maxi series, I guess. It was written by Garth Ennis and it was drawn by Steve Dillon, who was kind of his go to penciler at the time. Steve Dillon has a very distinct style, it's very cartoonish, but he gets very graphic and very violent. So if you have Marvel Unlimited, you can read this run by going to Punisher 2000 to 2001, clicking it, and boom, you have all 12 issues here. It takes you about, I would say about 2 or 3 hours to get through. I read it tonight. And the reason I would start with this is kind of the beginnings of the more graphic, the more violent Punisher. This is also the first series where Garth Ennis wrote Punisher, and this is clearly a prelude to his inevitable magnum opus that is the Punisher Max, which was written in 2004. He actually wrote two Punisher Night series. This is the first one. The second one ran from 2001 to 2003, and then Punisher Max was 2004. I think Ennis left in 2006 or 7. But anyway, so if you've seen the first Punisher movie, the Thomas Jane one, you notice that this is kind of very similar story, especially with characters like the Russian, the idea of Punisher living undercover in a what's it called, in an apartment building with various funny neighbors who Punisher actually starts to care about later on. We see a very humanized Punisher. Punisher before this had been characterized as more of a high tech. I don't want to say spy thriller, but it was more high tech. Definitely, I think he was commissioned by Shield. Um, he was commissioned by. I don't know if it was Shield, but he was getting funding and he was getting all this like high tech like armor, weapons, and like other gadgets to use in his crusade against crime. But in this we go, and he says in the first issue we go back to basics, and it's just him against the city of New York. And one of the big things about this is that Garth Ennis shows that he is great at pacing. Every issue feels important. Every issue does something. One of my biggest issue with current comics is that it seems like the publishers will say, or the editor will say, you have 5 issues to do this story. People will come up with a story for 3 issues and then have to use 2 issues to pad it out. So what happens is that they don't spread it out properly, and in the end, by the end of the second issue, you just don't give a shit, and it feels like nothing matters, nothing's really happening until the end. There's only about 3 panels in each book where something happens, and this is my problem specifically with Falcon. I think Falcon is the biggest offender of this currently, where issues 1 through 3 sucked. Issues 4 and 5 were good, but they were good because half the issue was good. The whole arc could have been done in 2 issues, and issue 6, which sets up the next arc, just felt like filler. You could have had issue 6 in 3 pages of an actual issue. This, every single issue does something. There is a rising action to each issue, and not just an action scene, which X-Men Blue likes to try to do, but there is an actual story per issue that you can follow. You can pick up issue 4, get caught up with the story, and still have a good time reading it as a single issue. And you can then pick up issue 5, go back to read issues 1 through 3, which is what you're supposed to do. If you come in the middle of a run, the idea is that they want to get you to buy the previous issues to see what was going on. And this book does it perfectly. Current books, I feel like, miss that completely. But this one does not miss that at all. So you see the more cartoony pencils, but it's still, I want to show you some of the violence. For instance, he twists his head around. It's very graphic, but this is a callback to the old Punisher. I love it. The story is great. It's him going after a crime family. Very simple story. He's going up against the Ganucci's. A lot of gore, a lot of violence. Even if you're not really into that, the story is good enough that it pulls you in. My biggest issue with Garth Ennis is that he has a very juvenile sense of humor. For instance, there is a character called Buddy Plug, and obviously that's a play on words because he says, "Oh, everybody calls me Bud," and then you see Bud Plug. Oh, butt plug. I get it. You're funny. Uh, he has a very juvenile sense of humor, and it shows frequently. But that's kind of his style. I don't like it, but he is so strong as a storyteller that I allow myself to overlook it because it's just I know that when I buckle in for the ride, it's gonna be great. So if you have not read, and I know that Marvel Knights, people sleep on Marvel Knights. Marvel Knights was a good imprint. I think it was from, I think, 99 to 2003, around that time. A lot of good stuff came out of that. Remember, the Christopher Priest Black Panther run was part of Marvel Knights. Fantastic. So if you have Marvel Unlimited, I definitely recommend checking out this run. This run was amazing. Like I said, the pencils are cartoony, but it works with it. I really do think it works with the source material. So anyway, check it out. Let me know what you guys thought about this run. Did you guys think it was the best Punisher run? Everybody says the Punisher Max is the best, and I love Punisher Max. But rereading this, it just rekindled my love for like Garth Ennis, and ever since we know that Garth Ennis is now writing the next Punisher prequels, so to speak. It's just amazing. I got really super hyped after reading this. All right, let me know what you guys think. Like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me at Trajan Channel. I'll catch you guys later.